Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the NoDQ.com live recap of AEW Dynamite for August the 25th, 2021. This was CM Punk's first appearance on AEW Dynamite. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. I appreciate your viewership and support, and thank you to everybody watching this on demand as well. I have a poll up for those of you watching live to leave your letter grade for AEW Dynamite. Let's go ahead and get to the recap. We kicked off Dynamite, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with Orange Cassidy versus Matt Hardy. Right off the bat, they had their little face-off in the ring. Orange Cassidy doing his kicks, Matt Hardy doing the delete. Matt pulled out some money, and then Orange Cassidy drop-kicked Matt, sending the money flying everywhere. Orange grabbed some of the money that was on the mat, put it in his pocket, and then he did a dive to the outside, but Matt caught him and hit the side effect on the outside, got Orange back in the ring, had control for a while, started picking up his money and putting it back in his pocket. He started mocking Orange's kicks, and then he started to go into the pocket of Orange Cassidy to get back his money. And at that point, Orange made his comeback. He came off the top with a crossbody, and Matt might have suffered a broken nose. He was bleeding like crazy after that crossbody. Orange then went to the top and put his hands in his pocket and did a swanton bomb to Matt Hardy. Then he hit the twist of fate. Matt still kicked out, and then Orange got Matt in a pinning situation, and Orange, to add insult to injury, put his hands in his pants as he was pinning Matt Hardy, and Orange Cassidy scored the 1-2-3 victory over Hardy. Good opening match to kick off the show. Hopefully Matt's okay, but I have a feeling he broke his nose during this match. He was bleeding all over the place. Orange Cassidy had blood all over him. It was quite brutal. We had Malakai Black cutting a promo for the main event segment, and he said that after he gets through with the young Brock Anderson, he will take out anybody associated with the Nightmare Factory, anybody that gets in his way. We then had Chris Jericho come to the ring for an interview with Tony Schiavone. There was a sign in the crowd in the front row that said, "Keep wrestling alive, get vaxxed." And Jericho said that everybody has been celebrating the past week, except for him. He lost to MJF for the third time on last week's show, and worse, he tapped out. He's been going crazy ever since. He said he doesn't give a shit. He will do whatever it takes to get one more match with MJF. And he had a proposal. One more match at All Out. If MJM wins the match, Jericho said he will never wrestle again in AEW. He'll go do the announcing. He could have taken a shot at WWE, but then you all would have complained about it. He could have said, if I lose, I'll go to Saudi Arabia and collect a big fat paycheck. But he didn't do that. He just said if he lost, he would do announcing and he would never wrestle in an AEW ring again. MJF showed up and he had a 3-0 t-shirt. Jericho, according to MJF, has just been trying to get a rub from MJF. And MJF said that now the cash cow is out of milk. His udders are sore. And he said that Jericho tapped out faster than somebody listening to a Fozzy CD. Ouch. MJF accepted the match for All Out, but he wanted Jericho to think about what Jericho was getting himself into, and then he took his leave. So it is official, All Out, Jericho versus MJF. We'll see what happens. Skinman says, you like making comments about vaccines and masks on a wrestling podcast? Why? I was just reading off the fan sign. That's all I did. We had the Varsity Blondes cutting a promo about the Lucha Brothers. We had a tag team match with these two teams, with the winning team going on to face Jurassic Express in the Eliminator mini tournament final this Friday on Rampage, and the winning team there will face the Young Bucks in a steel cage match at All Out. The Bucks, speaking of them, along with the Elite, came down to the stage and they watched the match. Jurassic Express were also watching at ringside. Pretty good match here between these two teams. Broke down at the end with all four guys in the ring doing a bunch of different things. And then the Lucha Brothers hit some super kicks to Pillman. They hit the double team package pile driver, and Pillman got pinned. Varsity Blondes lose again on the big show. They pick up all the wins on Dark and Elevation, but they never seem to get that win on Dynamite. After the match was over, the Jurassic Express got into the ring, and the two teams had a face-off. The Elite walked down to ringside. The Bucks quickly got in the ring and shoved Jurassic Express into the Lucha Brothers, but the two teams decided they had enough of this crap, and they went after the Bucks and took them out, and the four of them had a mutual respect amongst each other going into their match on Friday. Next up, we had Jamie Hayter versus Red Velvet. Crowd really did not care about this match too much. They cared about Britt Baker. Britt Baker was there at ringside. Crowd was chanting DMD. Hayter dominated much of the match, and Velvet made a comeback. DMD got on the apron. Velvet knocked her off the apron, which the crowd booed because they don't like seeing Britt getting beat up. And then Hayter took advantage and picked up the win with a lariat. So could you say stupid babyface Red Velvet for getting distracted? I guess so. Match wasn't much, and afterwards, Chris Statlander made the save. Statlander will be Britt Baker's challenger at the pay-per-view, and, well, I think Britt Baker will be retaining. But we'll be doing predictions next week. I'm still waiting on Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa in a rematch. That's, to me, the big match that they can do for the women's title. So, to me, this is just filler coming up at All Out. Just something for Britt Baker to do. We had the Dark Order backstage. Evil Uno was talking about their issues, and Alex Reynolds is not happy about the situation with Adam Page being beat up, and the Dark Order didn't do anything, but Evil Uno's attitude is, well, Adam Page asked them not to get involved. They argued, and then Reynolds just walked off. He's pretty much done with the whole situation for now. We then had the big moment on Dynamite that people were anticipating, CM Punk's first appearance on the show. And I'm really curious to know what you guys thought about this segment with CM Punk. Tony Schiavone was in the ring, said that he's an announcer, but he's a fan first and foremost. And Friday was one of the biggest moments in Rampage history, or AEW history, I should say. He introduced CM Punk, who got a pretty big reaction. Not quite as big as Chicago, but still a very good reaction. Lots of CM Punk chants. There was a fan that apparently was at Rampage, and he had the ice cream bar wrapper on his sign. That was pretty creative. And Tony Schiavone's first question was, what brought back CM Punk to the ring? Which I thought Punk answered that on Rampage, but Punk said at first he couldn't hear anything because of the chants, but then he did start naming off the wrestlers, the young guys, which again was more or less what he said on Friday. Said he doesn't need to be the voice of the voiceless anymore because the people backstage, they have a voice now. And he said he looks at Darby Allin and he wonders if he can still go. If the answer is yes, it starts with Darby Allin. And he sees a lot of Darby in him. A guy that was not the biggest, not the strongest, but God damn it, he has heart. He said that he thinks he could still be the best in the world. Can he still be the best in the world? And at this point, the crowd started chanting, yes, Yes. Punk then had a very interesting line in response to this. He said that that is somebody else's shtick and they need to just be a little bit more patient. If that's not a confirmation that Bryan is coming to AEW, I don't know what is. But yeah, CM Punk more or less confirming what we've already known about Daniel Bryan. He also went on Instagram and posted a photo of his hand shaking the hand of Daniel Bryan, another tease. Nicely done there. And then he finished off his promo by giving a shout out to AJ Lee, saying, "I love you, April," and then he took his leave. Promo was pretty good. I don't think it was nearly as impactful as the Friday promo, but, I wasn't really expecting it to be at that level. But still, I was hoping for a little bit more of a storyline development, but it was basically just regurgitating what he already said on Friday. It was fine, but it did feel a little bit like a filler promo and not something significant to advance a storyline. Like, it really didn't need to be done. I think they just wanted to get CM Punk on Dynamite. Detective Mocha with a $2 super chat says, Stone Cold versus CM Punk, imagine that in AEW. Ain't gonna happen. Keep dreaming. Steve Austin ain't wrestling again. I'm pretty certain of that. And Oscar sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, loved that the Milwaukee fans' Yes movement made Punk officially state that Daniel Bryan is coming by saying, be patient. I'm loving AEW. And I wonder if he even thought of using that line or if that was just something that was spur of the moment. He did stumble on his delivery of that line a little bit, which makes me think he just came up with that on the fly in response, and maybe he wasn't supposed to make a reference to Daniel Bryan, but he did. And it's kind of like when Punk came in, there were the little references, and this will give fans something to talk about and get excited for, so it's fine by me. Caleb Thomas with a $2 super chat says, do you think Adam Cole will show up on Rampage this week? I already blew my chance at a joke there because you put Cole instead of Adam Cole, and I was going to say something about Michael Cole. No, he's not going to be there. But I blew the joke opportunity. To my understanding, Cole is still technically under contract to WWE until the end of the month, which would rule out him being part of Rampage. But next week's Dynamite, he could be there. He'll be a free agent unless he decides to sign a new deal with WWE, which, of course, is always a possibility. But yeah, AEW cannot actually sign him to a contract until his WWE contract is expired. Until that contract expires, there's always that chance that WWE could sign him to a new deal. My feeling, though, is he's going to end up in AEW if I had to make a prediction. But maybe I'll be wrong. Hamp Connell with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. I appreciate it. Says, I know it's early, but something tells me that Tony Khan is banking on CM Punk and Daniel Bryan's names alone. He needs to do something special with them. He's got other names, too. I mean, CM Punk is obviously a big deal. Daniel Bryan is a big deal. If he gets Bray Wyatt, that's a big deal. And I think he will do something special with them. I do think we're going to get those dream matches, whether it's CM Punk versus Kenny Omega or Daniel Bryan versus Kenny Omega. There's a lot of different opportunities, and we've talked about it over the past couple weeks. I'm sure we'll talk about it more, but I think Tony Khan will get his money's worth with these guys once they come in. You got several big match potentials between those two guys. Yeah, according to Steve-O, Adam Cole is going to be at a WWE Mattel Toys Q&A this week. That's true. So yeah, he's still under contract, and he's still got at least one more WWE commitment before he's done. It could just be something that was already scheduled that he's going to be part of. All right, so now we'll move on here. And at this point, I was like wondering, what is the main event of this show? You put out CM Punk halfway through, and then I finally remembered, oh, Malakai Black. They're really going to put Malakai Black and Brock Anderson in the main event? Miro cut a backstage promo and said that he will drag Eddie Kingston through the river. God will back him up because he is the Redeemer and he wants the Mad King, Eddie Kingston. All right, then. I'm not even sure how this Miro Eddie Kingston thing got started, but I guess he just wants to fight Eddie Kingston. We had a 6-man tag team match, Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, and Darby Allin against the Wingmen, which consists of Nick Nemeth and DJ Drake, I think is his name. And I'm forgetting who the third guy was in this match. Peter Avalon was at ringside. Basically, you knew who was winning this one. This is a glorified squash match. Crowd was very much into Eddie Kingston, of course, and Avalon got beat up on the outside. Nemeth, who is the brother of Dolph Ziggler, had a steel chair, but that wasn't enough to scare the good guys. They beat him up too. And then Darby pinned Drake with the coffin drop. Afterwards, Daniel Garcia ran down and attacked Allin after the match and then ran off. So I guess we'll be seeing Daniel Garcia versus Darby Allin next week or something. There you go. Not much to say about it. Again, just really a match to put over the stars and give them the spotlight, and the other guys at least get some TV time. We had a promo with the Bunny and Ty Conti. They are going to be two of the participants in the Women's Casino Battle Royal at All Out, which there's a big rumor about Ruby Soho being part of this, and she would be my odds-on favorite to win if she is, in fact, going to be in that match. She could very well be the 21 entrant. Anyways, this promo, Bunny offered Ty an HFO, Hardy Family Office contract. Ty just ripped it up and got slapped by Bunny, and then a big fight broke out between them that needed the referees the referees separating them. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention that women's match earlier was not in the 9:15 to 9:30 spot. Good job, AEW, changing it up a little bit finally. I appreciate it. We had a promo from FTR with the first appearance of Cash Wheeler since he got his arm cut open really bad a few weeks ago, and they want one more match with Santana and Ortiz, and the match was announced for next week's show. FTR will get their match against Santana and Ortiz. Then we had an in-ring promo. Tony Schiavone brought out Kenny Omega, Don Callis, and the crew, and they kicked out Tony Schiavone right away. The thing with Tony Schiavone, like when Tony Schiavone does the interviews, I like them because it's a throwback to Nitro. But I forgot to mention this earlier, I felt like with CM Punk, it just felt a little awkward with Tony asking Punk questions. I feel like Punk has better flow when he's just grabbing the mic and doing the promo himself and getting in the zone. I felt like when Tony was asking him questions and they were going back and forth, it kind of threw off Punk's momentum a little bit. So I think that earlier I was talking about like his promo seemed to lack some intensity that the Friday promo had, and I think that's why, because he was trying to answer Tony's questions, and it just lacked that intensity that you might expect from a CM Punk promo. Or maybe he's just rusty, and Friday he had a lot of time to prepare, and the adrenaline got him through for the first promo, and now he's just now he's starting to feel the rust of being gone for 7 years. Anyways, that's the last I'll talk about Punk. Back to this segment. Christian Cage quickly interrupted and showed a video from many years ago, late 90s, of Christian in his first match against Don Callis, and said that Don Callis is a carny piece of shit, as he's been saying the past several weeks. Hamp Connor with a $2 super chat. Going back here real quick, he says, Miro reminds me of that 5-minute Mordecai WWE gimmick. Well, Miro's better than Mordecai. Let's give Miro some credit here. And Power Packers 90 with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Thank you, both of you, for the super chats. Says, at the show, effing wow. Rampage is fire now also. Well, glad you're enjoying it, Power Packers 90. Caleb Thomas with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Caleb. I appreciate it. Says, what was the reason for the Edge remarks from Kenny? Just to be funny. I mean, really, that's all there was to it. So we'll get to that right now. So Christian continued his promo and said that Kenny Omega has been manipulated by Callis way back when he was 10 years old and now was an adult. And then Omega responded by saying, you think you know me? You think you know me, punk? And that was the reference, of course, to Edge. You think you know me? Again, I think he was just trying to be funny. Christian was there taking it from Omega verbally with the references, and Callis had to really twist that knife in the stomach and the gut, and said that at All Out, Christian Cage will be second best, like he's been his entire career. And the crowd oohed that remark. And thank you, Calvin. Callis also name-dropped a bunch of promoters, including Vince McMahon, which the crowd did boo when he brought up Vince's name, as you would expect an AEW crowd to do so. I wonder if Vince actually showed up on an AEW show, would they really boo or would they start bowing to him? I think it would be the latter. But that's just me. And the segment ended here with the Elite guys beating down Christian, and then Kazarian ran down with a pipe to make the save. We had a backstage promo from Jon Moxley, and it was revealed that his opponent will be a Japanese wrestler named Satoshi Kojima, and I know absolutely nothing about this guy. I will presume that they're going to have a really good match. I'm guessing this guy's good. I'll take everyone's word for it, but I have no idea who he is. But they're doing that match at All Out. I'm sure the Chicago fans will know who he is. You know, they're the diehards. They'll know who pretty much anybody is who shows up on the programming. And Caleb Thomas with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Caleb. I appreciate it. Says, don't forget Don mentioned Vince's name. I actually just mentioned it, but thank you for that. And of course, people are complaining about that, as they tend to do anytime a WWE guy is referenced. People are complaining about the Edge line, which was kind of funny. It was cute. And the Vince thing, you know, several promoters were mentioned. Vern Gagne and a bunch of other people. Bill Watts. We had the Gun Club. Billy Gunn and his sons against the Factory. The Factory got no entrance, by the way. And in WWE land, that usually means that the guys with no entrance are going down. Big Show Paul White was on commentary, and QT got a little bit too cocky. He was looking over towards Show Paul White and trash talking, and that's when one of the Gun kids, I'm not sure which one, pinned QT to pick up the upset victory. So QT loses to one of the Gun kids, leading up to his match with Big Show Paul White at the All Out pay-per-view. We then had Dan Lambert in a backstage promo with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. This was Virtue's favorite segment. He says Dan Lambert stole the show again, even though he's basically doing his shtick that he was doing in Impact Wrestling, so it's really nothing new. He said that this generation needs help, and he is going to provide them some role models, real men, in Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Caleb Thomas with a $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Caleb. I really do appreciate it. Says, which finishers and signatures does Aaron want to see Punk use? Why are we using my name like not here? As far as finishers, I mean, obviously the GTS. You know, he should use the move that everybody knows. I've seen people mention the Pepsi plunge. Maybe he'll pull that off at some point. You know, we've seen Jericho pull off some old moves from the past. Maybe CM Punk will do the same thing, and maybe he'll surprise us with a few new moves. Maybe all that MMA training that he's been doing in Milwaukee will translate to the wrestling ring, and he'll bust out some new moves at All Out. We'll have to wait and see. Actually, I would not mind him seeing a new move either. Jericho started doing the Judas effect. Virtue says CM Punk is doing his same shtick to do what works. Yeah, I mean, he could do what works. Maybe he'll do a little bit of what he's been doing and do some new stuff too. We'll have to wait and see. We had our main event of the evening, which was Malakai Black versus Brock Anderson. Before the match, Arn Anderson was very concerned, but he said he's going to go down there with Brock and whatever happens, happens. D. Martin V sent in a $5 super chat, says, Satoshi Kojima is a 30-year New Japan legend. Well, that tells you how much I know about New Japan, FYI.